Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Coffee with Coaches podcast. I am still your host, Kevin. You've been hearing a lot of me lately. And today I am honored to have Beth Miller with me. Ms. Miller is an experienced corporate executive, business owner, and entrepreneur with a love for developing talent and seeing other leaders succeed. As a chair for Vistage, a leading CEO peer group, she realized her love of impacting businesses and founded Executive Velocity, dedicated to helping leaders reach their full potential. Modest goals. Beth, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Let's get started, and let's start at the beginning. What prompted you to personally get into coaching, or how did you realize that maybe you already were a coach? I know that's a common discovery for a lot of coaches on their journey. And then what prompted you to start a coaching practice?
Yeah, so it was by mistake. I had been running a consulting firm back in the late 90s, sold it in 2003, took some time off and wasn't ready to retire. There was only so much volunteer work. So I started talking to friends, acquaintances through my network, and found Vistage, which is a CEO membership organization. And fast forward, I became a chair, and early on, I realized how much I loved coaching, because that Vistage is part of that. Part of the Vistage program is coaching business owners on a monthly basis. So as I was doing that, I realized I enjoyed helping executives kind of see what they didn't see through questions that they've never either asked themselves or were afraid to ask themselves. And it really fed me. So I then went off and got certified as a coach, and became certified in a number of assessment tools as well, because I wanted to kind of build my own practice alongside the work I was doing with Vistage. So I did that up until 2019, when I stepped away from Vistage, because I needed to focus on my business. And that was a difficult decision, but at the same time, it was the right decision for me. And partly for personal reasons. My mother's getting older, and Vistage requires you to be in a meeting once a month.
Yeah.
And there's no backup. I'm it. So the coaching is a lot more flexible. If something should come up with my mom, I can, send a note to whomever I've got meetings with and say, hey, I got to reschedule. You can't reschedule 12 people or 15 people, right?
Good luck trying.
Right. To go to another meeting, another day, all of them. That's just not going to work. So that's how I came to coaching. And through that, I've realized that one of my real passions is those high potentials, those individuals who are rising through the organization or have been tapped to rise through the organization. And I've done a lot of coaching with millennials. So that's something I really enjoy. They're hungry and thirsty to learn, and they get it. They're good students and apply what they've learned. And I've had a lot of great success stories of individuals, younger individuals moving up in their organizations. And I like to think that I was part of that. So
I love that you identified. I'm going to say this, and I'm pretty sure it's true, but you never know. But you really can't teach hunger.
No.
You could teach people how to eat, or how to eat voraciously. You can teach all the different aspects, but that urge, that that hole in their heart, that's just burning desire, I don't think you could teach that. You can nurture it and you can fan it into a conflagration, right. But you can't really teach hunger. And I feel like I love that you identified that as a place to pursue your passion for coaching. To really feel like, where can I make the most difference while expressing my talents and my passions in a way that's going to help others, but also give you the flexibility, which I also love. How important that was to you. I don't think enough people in general, but even coaches in specific, prioritize that flexibility, because it doesn't just serve their own life and their own needs, but it does serve their clients as well.
Right. Yes. You want to model what you want your coachees to be doing, right? And oftentimes I am called in to situations where people are overworking, and it's because they're not working smartly. They're maybe control freaks, and they want to hold on to stuff. So delegating and letting things go, and building trust and empowering others. All those things are about leadership. There are other times when I've been called in where somebody has been elevated to a position, hasn't been trained or coached into that, and they've been set up for failure. Sometimes they've been put in a position that they didn't even really want. Nobody asked them. It's like, oh, this person is a really good programmer. We've got this position as a manager. And because they're a subject matter expert, well, of course they're going to be good at managing. Not so much.
You say it like that, is like, no, they're not.
No, exactly.
People make that mistake constantly.
Right. Yeah. And many of those subject matter experts, they enjoy their craft. They really like being a creative designer or a salesperson or an engineer, whatever. And the idea of moving in to a leadership position will pull them away from their craft. And some people don't want that, and that's okay.
Or they don't know how to do it.
We need, excuse me?
Or they don't know how to do it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. To do both. This is such, obviously you identified it yourself. This is such fertile ground for coaching. I love this because those transitions, we lose so many good people and great talent to maybe a premature or a poorly executed transition from craft to leadership. Yes. And being able to spend time with someone, identifying those fast risers, those high achievers, and seeing how they can best achieve their full potential, which may or may not, often will involve some form of leadership. Because I feel like a lot of people who are really good at their craft, they have that in them. They just maybe don't know how to do it, or they're not in the right positions for that leadership to be expressed. I love that. As you can tell, I love this stuff. I could talk about this all day.
Well, you mentioned potential and identifying potential. That's something that I talk about in my book, Replaceable, and that is being able to identify what potential looks like, which is different than performance. Because potential is really about forecasting what somebody could do, whereas performance is hindsight. And you really need to get clear on what potential looks like in your organization before you go
off, start moving people around and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the nuts and bolts of your coaching practice. What kind of offerings do you have? Are you usually more one-to-one? Do you do group coaching? Do you have masterminds? Do you have speaking, presentations, courses? Obviously, you have a book. all the different stuff you could do. What's your favorite part, or what's the most effective part of your coaching business?
Being able to go in at the CEO level, because I work mostly with small to mid-sized companies. And I've focused on that because I feel like I can make a bigger impact on the organization than if I were working for an IBM or something. So it's starting at that CEO level and getting them to understand I might be coaching them, or I might be coaching some of their direct reports. But then as I move downstream, because that's generally what happens, that they'll see what the value of coaching, and then they'll want their direct reports to be coached. So it's the one-on-one coaching that I enjoy. The other area that I enjoy is on succession planning and helping small businesses to build strategic succession plans that will help them move the organization forward when key employees leave either planned or unplanned, because you've got people below and behind them that are prepared to step in. So it's having that structure and plan built into your business plan, and then refreshing that on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very smart. Well, easy to set it and forget it.
Right. And that's where the development planning and coaching comes in, because what will happen is they will identify people that have gaps, that need some sort of development. And sometimes that is, training. It could be job enrichment or projects that they've identified that they'll hand off to somebody. So it's on the job training, or it's coaching or mentoring. Yeah.
I feel like I could pick your brain about this stuff all day. I want to make sure we're already 12 minutes in. I want to make sure that you let our audience know where you like to be found. Where are you having most of your conversations? Where do you like people to go to find out more about you?
So I do a newsletter, and I'm on LinkedIn. So it's Beth Connect Miller. There's only one of me, and yeah. Now if you go for Beth Miller, there's probably a whole lot of me, but Beth Connect Miller on LinkedIn, and then my website. I have all sorts of resources out there, free resources for individuals on leadership, hiring, and succession planning. Those are kind of my three buckets that I work in. And they, all you have to do is give me their email address. That's it. And you can download as many resources as you want.
That's excellent. Yeah. I have maybe like a half dozen other different directions I would love to go with you, but this is a short form podcast. So I'm going to thank you very, very much for being here today and sharing your coaching practice and your coaching approach with us.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I really appreciated it.
And to the audience, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.